Hi, everyone. I am Ashley Conrad, Engagement Manager with Girls on the Run of Northern Virginia, and we're so excited to be with you before our fall season starts for a very special edition of our Joyful Journeys interview series. This week, for Women's Equality Day, we are highlighting some fantastic, spectacular women in our Girls on the Run community and beyond that work in male-dominated fields and are out there breaking barriers, breaking glass ceilings, and just doing some really stellar work for all of us in our communities and paving the way for more women's equality. So today I am thrilled to be joined by Shauna Moller. She is a Girls on the Run coach with us, as well as a community resource officer for the Manassas City Police Department. So Shauna, thank you so much for joining us today for this special interview series.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about your journey becoming a law enforcement officer and also your journey becoming a Girls on the Run coach.
So I went to college at George Mason. I wanted to study criminology and psychology. Ultimate goal, based on all the TV shows and everything, was I'm going to go join the FBI. I'm going to do federal agency stuff and do all the fun, cool work. While I was in college, I actually joined a sorority, which was Gamma Phi Beta. If you know anything about Girls on the Run, we actually are the philanthropic partner. So a lot of the money that we raise through our philanthropy goes straight to Girls on the Run. My sophomore year, I actually became the philanthropy chair. Decided if I'm going to be the philanthropy chair, I might as well get to know our philanthropic partner. So I decided to become a coach with Waples Mill Elementary School while I was in college still. I actually coached 4 seasons with Waple Mills throughout my entire college career. So obviously far beyond, I was the philanthropy chair because I truly loved the program and everything I got to see the girls go through and the growth that they had. And then going forward towards the end of my college program, I kind of learned like what I truly love to do is have that hands-on helping people, which honestly partially probably was from Girls on the Run and volunteering with you guys and being able to have that experience throughout college and continuing that. So instead of going federal and doing all the big cool stuff, I knew what I really wanted to do was get that hands-on stuff with the community. Decided to go to a smaller police department, which I ended up with Manassas City. And here I get to do exactly that. I get to have hands-on with the community, especially my role right now, where I actually get to be a Girls on the Run coach for the police department. So
That is so cool. And I had no idea you coached at Waples Mill. That's one of those coach at. So very cool connection there. So if we think about law enforcement and our population and the fact that it is a male-dominated field, that is like so front and center. So looking at the overall population of our law enforcement officers, looking at some statistics, only 12% of law enforcement officers in the United States are female. And then an even smaller percentage of that, only 3% of women are in leadership roles within their departments. So why do you think it's so important that we do have female representation in our law enforcement offices from the entry level to the leadership level across the board?
So I'm in a department where I'm very fortunate to have a lot of strong female leaders already in the department, who've all been here for like 20 plus years, which is really saying something. I actually a fun story is I actually started working here in 2020, and I got to be on a squad with the first female officer of our department. She actually worked with the department for, I believe, 42 years.
Wow.
So she had all the stories, and it was amazing seeing her as the first female officer, which coming from someone in their 20s is like amazing because the amount of growth that we've had in society of adapting females into these male-dominated roles, I grew up with it. She started it.
Yeah.
So that was just an amazing experience. But with all of our female leaders, you can see what women prioritize. And a lot of that is mental health, especially as it's becoming more prominent within our society of accepting mental health as an issue for everyone, not just certain people. So you can see their drive with peer support services, with crisis negotiations, and you can really see that they're more centered on those things, as well as support for the department, as well as the citizens. So with that being said, we also have just normal patrol officers, it's essential to have female officers. You can go to a scene and look at something and understand it completely, whereas your male counterpart's like, I have no idea what's going on. You're like, well, this, just trust me on this one. This is what happened. And so it's a whole different perspective that we bring in. In addition to that, typically what I found is as soon as there's a female officer on scene, those highly emotional situations kind of calm down because we're viewed as caring and nurturing and that we're there to listen. So we're a little bit less threatening to the person. So we can come into a crisis situation and people will hone in on us and be like, I want to talk to her because we're that calming entity in that moment. And then we also have obviously the victims who just want to talk to us because we're more understanding. So that goes to other females who were sexually assaulted or in domestic violence situations, as well as children that are in situations as well. They usually gravitate more towards us, just as more, again, that nurturing side of things and that understanding. So.
Yeah, 100%. So it sounds like, in your role and how you see your female colleagues, you're really relying on a different strength set, and skill set. It's different from your male colleagues, but they're, like you said, different perspectives, different strengths that a female in this role can bring to a situation, versus maybe a male colleague. But sounds like working all together is how we move forward and make sure that the community is safe, which is awesome. Yeah.
Exactly.
And touching on the community, I really want to kind of highlight really quick, your role. And yes, you're community resource officer, but like you mentioned, you are now coaching Girls on the Run, a team in your capacity as an officer. You've led one of our community teams at the Georgetown South community for several years now. So where do you see your intersection of your identity as a police officer and your identity as a GOTR coach making a positive impact in the lives of the girls that you serve there?
Yes, so community engagement is a priority for our department. We understand the connection between community engagement and prevention and deterrence of crime, especially with our youth. So we have multiple programs that are here. So we go anywhere from just like we have a parent E3 series where we teach parents on how to interact with their kids. We do Youth Quest program. We have badges for baseball. We have a ton of programs. And when I first started this role, they were talking about introducing a program just for females, just for young girls in our community, because we saw that there is like that little bit of divide where the females weren't getting as involved in our programs as the males were. So I immediately pitched Girls on the Run. I was like, it's a program we can easily get involved in. It's all developed for us. And all we have to do is show up and be positive mentors. And it's everything that we would want in a program of building up these young girls. Because what we're seeing in policing is these young girls getting connected to people and using them as a crutch because they don't have the confidence and the independence to go out and say, no, that's not a good idea. Let's not do that. Or leading their own peers into making more positive decisions. So I think starting at the age group that we do with Girls on the Run is really the key because it helps develop those goals, that empathy, that strengthen themselves and confidence to be able to grow up into those early teen years and be able to make those decisions against peer pressure and also help guide their peers into better decisions as well.
100%. And that's so much of what, our programming is about, is really, it's so much more than just a running program. Yes, we have fun and we build up to our 5K, but kind of like you touched on earlier, where you said your female colleagues can have that focus on mental health. Girls on the Run is the perfect outlet for that. Your GOTR team is also teaching those girls, like you said, that really intentional decision making, avoiding peer pressure, and just being confident and empowered to be resilient on their own. Which so critical. And that's exactly what we love to see our programs doing in our community, here in Northern Virginia and at large throughout the country. So kind of last question to wrap up today, we're talking about all this week that kind of like how you mentioned, you worked with the very first female police officer in the Manassas City Police Department. And I think you called her trailblazer, that she led the path for you to be able to have your career. But I think that you are doing the exact same now. Yes, you had a door open for you, but you're just going to continue to open doors for girls coming up behind you as well. So what advice would you give to a young girl or young woman looking to explore a career in the law enforcement field?
So first and foremost is get involved early. So your local police departments, they have a ton of community events. Go to the community events, get to know your local officers. We are usually, if you ask us a question, we're an open book. And each department is different about how they handle things based on local government. And there's just so many differences between departments.
Mhm.
So get involved, do internships, do a ride along, join a cadet program, go to the youth camps and classes that we host. And then just keep in mind that don't stop exploring. This career, there's so many things you can get involved in. If you want to do forensic stuff, you can do forensic stuff. If you want to do stuff that like I'm doing, which is community resources, you can do that. You can be a detective. You can go into being a school resource officer or just staying on patrol and helping those interactions that happen on the daily.
Mhm.
The most important thing to keep in mind is that I will never say that this is an easy job. It is extremely mentally and physically taxing. A lot of times we're dealing with people on the worst day of their lives. So it's very hard some days because there's not really a positive going on. But when you are able to help someone or protect someone, you just have to remember to soak that in and really let that drive you forward. This job has to be something that you love to do and you're excited to do every day, or else it starts weighing you down. So if you, one, like a good challenge, because no day is ever going to be the same. I'm constantly learning new things and adapting on the daily because of this job. If you like surprises, again, it's never going to be the same. Every person you interact with is going to be a little bit different. Every situation is going to be like, how did this happen? But we're going to go with it. We're going to do our best. And most importantly, if you want to help others, that's a key important thing. If you want to make a difference and that's your drive, you have to allow that to push you in this career. Because there's a lot of things, again, that will start weighing you down. You'll hit a lot of walls, but you just got to keep being persistent and going through them, which I think with the patience that a lot of women have, we do
Very
pretty
true.
well.
Very true.
So, but it's important that you keep that spirit and energy as you go through this career because there's gonna be bad days and that's okay. But if you like challenges, surprises, and you want to help people, please join us because we need more people that want to make a difference in their communities. And I always like to say that the best way to make a difference is by being the person who's making the changes. So don't sit back and complain about the issues if you're not going to go in and make an effort to do something about it. And policing, you have a way to make a difference because you can get involved in as many things as you'd like to.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I like kind of where you started, with the interview today of, you had this idea that your journey was going to take you to the FBI, and now your journey has maybe taken a different course than you anticipated. But I, for one, can say that all of us here at Girls on the Run are so lucky your journey did take you to Manassas, did take you to the Georgetown South community, did take you to being a GOTR coach, because people like you said, being the ones to make the change, to make the difference, to put in the work, to help people, is what is just going to keep driving us all forward to a more positive and brighter future. So thank you so much, Shauna. It's
No
been
problem.
a joy talking with you today, and we're so glad that you were able to join us for this very special Joyful Journey series.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you guys thought of me. I'm excited to continue working with Girls on the Run because again, it's a perfect program to get involved with if you want to see any change in young girls. So
100%. Awesome. Well, we will be back over the course of the next couple of days with more interviews with awesome women. And Shauna, thank you again.
This episode of Joyful Journeys is brought to you by Girls on the Run of Northern Virginia.